will get my dear brother Sam Alparaki to lead us in an opening prayer. Sam, could you kindly lead us, please?
Shall we pray? Father, we come before you. We unite our hearts to commit this Zoom enhancement meeting. May this be a productive meeting tonight. Thank you for everybody who is here. We ask for a very learning experience tonight. Thank you for Paul Chu leading this learning program. We ask that you would bless and keep everybody safe. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Sam. Thanks for praying. All right, welcome everyone, especially those who are new, those who are going to join us in January. Thank you for joining us tonight. Tonight, we have someone I think I've known for a long, long time. If I tell you how long, I'll give away her age. All right? It's a long time ago. And she still worships in the church where I was first ordained, where I learned ministry. So I'm always grateful to that church. It's called Jesus Saves Mission. It's a mission that reaches basically a very missional church and missional downwards to those who are in need. And so I learned ministry in Jesus Saves Mission. They sent me here, there, everywhere. And I was a young believer. You know, I hardly, how would I use the word? Got warmed up in my faith, and they sent me everywhere. That's the way they operate. So Johanna was a young lady at that time. And then one day I hear she's lecturing in Singapore's National Institute of Education. And that's where we train all our school teachers, our teachers in the country. So Johanna is basically teaching there. And I heard she did Zoom training for various churches, various groups. So when I heard that, I said, Johanna, can you please help us get more mileage out of the Zoom? You know, for many of us, Zoom's a bit new. And for many of us, we only use a few features in Zoom. Actually, Zoom has a lot of useful features. So I hope tonight Johanna can tell us it's not so scary, tell us the do's and don'ts, and how to get the most out of it. Now, if you have questions, please feel free to jot your questions down. And then when we have Q&A, just ask questions. All right. So feel free to ask questions. So we're all part of one team. We're all part of the APIS admin. Welcome once again. And now I hand over to Johanna. Please, Johanna, teach us.
Hi. Sorry. Hi, good evening, everybody. Let me get myself.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay. My name is Johanna. Some of you in Singapore will call me Li Mei. That's my dialect name. And welcome to the, I'll call this a sharing session, because I think we can learn from each other. And then with questions, we can, learn, like Dr. Paul Chu said, learn more features that we can help to make our worship service a little bit smoother and not so stressed out by, the Zoom functions and what not to do. In fact, this morning, one of the church sisters just came to my house and I was guiding her to do Zoom. I said, hey, I'm giving a session this evening, and so some of us are just not so familiar because we don't get to play with it. So the more we play with Zoom, the better we get. For today, I mean, with this current COVID situation, right? I mean, never have we been online, especially for my church in Singapore, in GSM. We have never had to go online on Zoom. The most we did was recording, right? Recording, and then people can get a CD in the old days, cassette tapes. Oh, that shows how old I am. And then we can send by email or whatever, and they can listen to messages. But now with Zoom, it's so useful, it's so effective, actually. You can go on YouTube, you can go on Facebook, it's all connected. And so we can reach out to more people using Zoom. Okay. And in Singapore, I'm not sure about in Philippines, we are still not allowed to sing at worship. Actually, we can, but there's a lot of restrictions. So end up, we say, oh, let's not sing. So we have to have recording of the music. So we have never had service like that in the past. So for today, I mean, because Zoom, I think all of us use Zoom. I mean, we are already on Zoom. So we are at different levels or different stages of familiarity. So I have to go from basic to the more advanced features. just to so that everybody is covered lah. I mean, I cover everybody. So let me share my screen. Okay, let me share sound. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, right.
Yes, we can see.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I use Zoom quite a fair bit because of, actually I don't use Zoom as much at work because I still do face-to-face lessons sometimes, but we use it every week for church. So because I kind of is part of the Zoom team, in church we have to form a team. One person is not a one-person work. You have to have a group of people to support you in this ministry, because if one person is down, there will be 3-4 person covering you, and we have on-site in church, still having on-site service if we can, for those who can go, and then we have most of the people at home worshiping. So we have to have the Zoom going on as well as on-site service. So this is the outline of what I'm sharing today. I say, we'll go from the simple stuff and then to the more advanced stuff. And I will go a bit faster for the first few bits because it's very simple. And then spend a little bit more time on the later part. Okay. So there are several ways that you can use Zoom, right? I think the most convenient one is using the mobile phone. So it's, you can walk around, move around with the mobile phone. Sometimes when I'm running late and I have a Zoom meeting, so you just plug in your earphone and then you run with, on the what's that called? In Singapore, we call it the MRT, the train. So I'll be Zooming in the train, but I'll tell people, oh, I cannot speak, I cannot give my views because I cannot talk. Or it will be actually best, for worship service, there's no reason why we should be on the road during worship service. So we should be at, it would be best to be at a computer. If we have if a desktop, a computer, it will be easier. So recently I upgraded and got myself a monitor because of the COVID. In the past, I think with just a laptop is sufficient. I've survived with a laptop, throughout my PhD, just one laptop, don't need the big monitor. But with Zoom, I think I need a big monitor because I need to look at several things at the same time. So it's a privilege if you can have a monitor next to you. If not, at least a laptop to maximize the function of the Zoom. So the slides, I have sent it to Terry. So Sister Terry will be able to forward it to all of you. And then, so if in case I go too fast, you can just follow the steps that's listed on the slides. So when you go into Zoom, of course, you will see your face if you have a face attached, a profile if you have a profile attached to the account. If not, your Zoom account will be blank, right? So setting up Zoom, right? So first thing we have to learn is to set up a meeting. So I think this is quite straightforward. But I just want to highlight the advanced features, or what I call advanced options. And if you scroll down when you click the meeting, the word meeting, and you click the plus on the corner, on the corner of the meeting, you will see the screen that says schedule a meeting. And schedule meeting, and you scroll down, you will have advanced option. So in advanced option, I want to highlight this thing called the alternative host. So if you are the only host, you have to start the meeting. But what if there's something happened? You cannot get to the computer, or your network is down or something. Then you must have an alternative host because they cannot start the meeting for you. So you type in the person's email in this. Usually it must be you can be anybody as long as there's a valid email who has a Zoom account. Of course, the person must have a Zoom account, okay? So, oops, sorry. Did somebody just annotate on my screen? I think somebody just annotated on my screen. Let me clear all drawings, okay? So annotation is one of the features of Zoom. So if you accidentally click on annotation, you can start drawing funny things. I just want to joke about it. During one service, one brother was so curious. He saw the pen and he got curious and he drew a smiley face during service. So we were trying to hunt down the person and we were calling the person, don't annotate, smiley face. And good thing he drew a smiley face and not write anything good, So we can't help things like that. Things like that do happen. Quite funny sometimes, but can be quite nerve-wracking for us on the Zoom team. Okay, next thing I want to introduce is when you go into Zoom, you will see this green, like a shield kind of icon. This is very important. This one, when you click on it, you will have the Zoom meeting details. So sometimes I have always I mean, maybe nowadays, I think people are used to Zoom, but I remember in the beginning, everybody would text me. You know, they will WhatsApp me. In Singapore, we are quite familiar with WhatsApp. They will WhatsApp me and ask me, what is the Zoom ID? What's the Zoom ID? You know, when we have circulated to the whole world, to know how many times. So the green button is a good way. On the handphone is in the middle. On the computer is on the side. So if you click on it, you'll be able to see your Zoom ID. Right? So those who are now playing with it, you can actually play with the function. Sorry, you see the host just muted me, but I think it's an accident. But again, things like that happen, you know, you get muted for no reason. Okay, so you click on the green button, you will see the Zoom ID, the passcode, and you can even copy and paste it, you know, and send it to people. So it's easier. Then you know, fumbling through your go back to your home settings or look through your calendar. By the time you open your email, look at your calendar for the Zoom ID, is too late. So this green button is useful. Then the green button is the flower. I call this the flower button. All right, and it's actually not a flower button, it's a boat, but I call it a flower button. It's called settings. So setting is very important. That's where we can play with our feature, with the features and stuff like that. Okay, so Zoom has many features, right? So if you look at the, okay, you call this the menu bar. If you look at the menu bar, which is usually at the top of your screen, sometimes you can position it at the bottom because it's a floating bar. So you can move it up and down. Depends on where you are. You have many functions. Okay, so like security, you know, I took a screenshot of the functions. So you can have participants. So in participants, this is very useful. If you have, like today we have how many people? 288. You have 288 names listed. All right, and whose name appear first? Those with their video turned on, those with the sound turned on. So video sound turn on, you will be prioritized, followed by, you know, video turn on, followed by sound turn on. Then everyone who are muted listed below. Okay, so how do we know if the person can hear you on Zoom? In the beginning, I noticed that some people keep saying they cannot hear. Then I realized that they didn't join in the computer sound, which I'll go through that later. So if you didn't have a sound, if you are not connected to sound and you cannot hear, it's because then you will see that your mic here is empty. Okay, there will be a gray, it will be in gray or it's empty. That means that this person did not connect to sound. So we will have to find a way to tell the person, you know, turn on your sound, click on the sound. So you can also be muted, right? That's where you can mute people. And you can also chat with people. So in case that, you know, you want to tell the person something, you can type on the chat box. Like today, I think all of you should know how to type on chat box. The problem with church service is some of our more elderly members, you can type 2 million messages and nobody notice it. Okay, so there's pros and cons. You know, some of us are a little bit more sensitive. We kind of look out for the red, you know, the blinking red number that appears at the corner, but some of us just don't. Right, so we have pros and cons. And the biggest problem is you send a message to the wrong people, or you send a message to everybody. You know, it's like in chat group, you send to the wrong chat group. That is a disaster, especially if you send something rude or something not so nice. I tell people to, you know, shut up. Oh no, you know, and then you send to everybody, and that's very bad. So you must be very careful when we send messages, not to create havoc. Okay, I think somebody just annotated again. All right. Okay, then next is the breakout room, which I'll go through how to do breakout room. And just now, I think Terry or who was saying that, how do you respond to me? So if you go and click on reactions, you will see all these cute icons. You can raise your hand and wave, you know, thumbs up, you know. So if you raise your hand, you must remember to lower the hand. So if you raise your hand for a question, you know, you have a question you want to ask, you raise it, you must remember to put it down. All right. Other than that, this kind of like crying icon, happy icon, it will just appear for a short while and then it will disappear. Okay. You can also ask me to go slower or go faster. So you know, however, like when you have 200 people, like tonight, 300 people, it's really not quite possible to follow the icon. You know, because like I said just now, we mentioned my biggest screen can only take 49. Okay, and then now with this, I got my script at the side. I cannot really see 49. I only see actually 8 or 9 or 10 people. So there's limitations again. You can also assign someone to type transcript. So as I type the transcript, it's as good as like subtitle. All right. There's also auto transcription. It's like a when I speak, it will type. However, as I say, Singapore English, Filipino English are not exactly the perfect English, and so sometimes it will, the writings, the voice will not be translated properly. Okay. All right. Then next is, so when you're on the share screen mode, there's actually, if you're on the share screen mode, you will see more. Sometimes if you are not on the share screen mode, you won't see the word more, right? When you see more, there's actually more functions. So, and some of the functions are repeated, like see record. It's also a big button on the menu bar, but you can also record from there. So one thing about Zoom is that I noticed is there are many ways to do the same function. You just have to get familiar with it, and depends on your restriction, right? Sometimes you cannot play with the menu, right? Then you have to find another alternative way. There's also hotkeys, like alternate C, alternate H. So you can learn those also, and find the best way to do it. Okay, right? So this is on the share screen mode. Okay. Right, before we go further, some non-technical stuff, right? So I always tell people when we go on Zoom, do take note of our attire. Okay, Sunday best. So even at home, I remember last year, especially last year when we are COVID, Singapore, we don't call it lockdown. We kind of like have to be online lesson. I make sure that every day I woke up, I put on a dress, a proper dress for the whole day, as if I'm going to work, because I just never know which time when I'm on this Zoom and somebody might be looking at me and I'm not properly attired, especially for Sunday. Okay, we should still like go as if we are going to church, wear our proper attire. I tell my friends, I say, please do sit in front of the window. Sorry, not window, in front of a wall. Don't sit in front of the window. Okay, so when you sit in front of the wall, then people cannot walk behind you. I'm not sure you remember this article, what's this, who's this person, this BBC interview, right? This professor, South Korea or something, he's in South Korea, and the kid was running all over, running behind, then the wife launched forward and grabbed the kid. So it was on BBC live, and it was a joke, and that was the beginning of Zoom. And then there's a lot of people who got into trouble in Zoom for doing not the appropriate all the inappropriate stuff. So we have to, I always tell people, if you can sit in front of a wall, then there's less likelihood that people will walk behind you. Okay, I don't have, I'm in my room, nobody will come, but my cat will just walk behind me. Sometimes it will just suddenly appear, and then photo bomb, we call it photo bomb my Zoom session. Okay, so I always start by switching off video. I go in, I switch off video, I mute myself. So I will do that unless I was told to otherwise, like please unmute, please show your video. So that this is also to prevent myself from accidentally, doing something not so appropriate, in front of the video. Like sometimes I might be packing my computer, then it doesn't look very nice. We like to stand in front of the video and look proper, just like we go to church. Okay. When I have very, very important event, I'll bring the whole gear and sit next to the computer, the modem, or the router, because my network is not very good. Today is Monday night, so pray that nothing happens. But if it's on a Sunday night, on a Saturday night, I notice that it's quite common that my network just drops. Especially if our bandwidth not very good, all the technical stuff. So just be careful of that. Okay. All right, the current Zoom session, when you come in just now, I think at the start, you have this one, this announcement that says the meeting is being recorded. So you have to click continue, or, if not, you have to leave the meeting. This is what we call Personal Protection Act. So before this actually happened, in my church, we actually have the statement that's, flashed across the screen. 2 times, once at the beginning of the service and one halfway, so as to just to tell people, hey, some people just press and they don't read what they are pressing. So it's just to remind people that, hey, you are being recorded. If you are not comfortable being recorded, then you have the, you can leave the service, right? I mean, for us attending the service, I don't see why they should leave the service, but we still have to give people the option, right? So, okay, next thing, a little bit more aesthetic stuff. In case, some of us like to do virtual background, right? So today I'm using my office laptop, so my virtual background, my computer is nice and good. But if I use my personal laptop, which is a very cheap laptop, I got a very cheap laptop that is like less than $500, all right? I will have patches like that. So because I think the video card or the graphic card is not good enough, so I have patches like that. So if I have patches like that, I'd rather not have the virtual background. So it's a bit funny if I look, distorted or have, funny patches. So what I do is I actually go onto the blur mode. So imagine I'm in my study room. I mean, my study room happens to have a bed at the back. So if I'm on the blur mode, then at least it doesn't look like a bed from the behind. So it still looks quite proper, huh? So in case you want to add a virtual background, you can go to the, the settings, and you can click the plus, and you can add a virtual background, which must be in one of these format. Okay. I don't quite like video filters. It kind of quite messy. I feel that. I think a clean background, a white background is better than the video background. So unless you have a reason for doing that, then you go ahead for the video background. I don't know if you notice that sometimes when you are on Zoom, you have gray boxes, big gray boxes around, that suddenly appears on your screen. You cannot see it, but you will see if it's somebody sharing, you will see gray boxes. There's 2 reasons. One reason is their computer not good enough, not enough power, to support the Zoom meeting. Another is they are fiddling with the toolbar, the menu. So when you're fiddling with the menu, it will appear gray, or you're chatting with somebody in front of your PowerPoint slides, it will appear gray. The panel will appear gray. This is to prevent people from looking at what you are typing. Okay, so there's some security feature there. Okay, then all right. Okay, I mean, I also like to touch up my appearance so that I look like I have a smoother face, less pimples, less wrinkles. So little things I do. You can adjust for low light. So just now I say don't sit in front of the window. So I remember one of the preacher was sitting in front of the window, then there's backlight. So he looked dark. He really looks dark. I couldn't really see his eyes even. So we have to tell him to shift. Then he said he cannot shift. I said, then you have to face the window, and stare into the sun if you have to, because you just cannot have the backlight. Okay. Evening time is very good because we use the light from the ceiling, it's very even and very nice. But sometimes it's too dark. I don't know if you see those people on TikTok. I mean, I don't do TikTok, but I know those people on TikTok. They actually have a light, like a circle light or a rectangular light staring at them in the face. So to hit the light on the face, just like video production and movie production. Okay. Sometimes I go on HD. If you go on original ratio, you'll sometimes notice that your screen on the video, like now I'm looking at you, there's 2 black bars at the side. So if you go on HD, it will be a full screen, right? Just like our PowerPoint. Nowadays we do 16:9, we don't do 4:3, the format of the screen anymore. Okay. Then I noticed that sometimes when we click share screen, the whole screen is filled up with the PowerPoint. The whole screen is filled up with Zoom, and we don't know how to maneuver other things. So I have to put in a slide to show you how to resize the screen. So if you go to the view at the corner of your Zoom, you can click exit full screen. So if you exit full screen, then you can resize your Zoom. So I can't show you now because I'm on, because I'm the, unless I show you a picture or something. How do you resize Zoom? Later I'll have a picture on that. So how do you move your things around so that you can see many things at the same time? Like for me, I have a script on my screen now. I mean, you can't see it, right? Of course, I don't want to show you also. I only show you the PowerPoint. Then I have you at one side so that I know I'm talking to you. You know, I don't want to look at, I don't want to, you know, because I have a monitor, I don't want to be looking on the left or on the right and look like I'm not giving you the attention. So I have many things going on at the same time. Okay, so you can do that. Then come to our favorite, right? We like to share screen. That's what the Zoom function is all about, right? So get your PowerPoint ready. Okay, put it at the back. Okay, click the share screen. Okay, share computer sound. So we, like today, you know, I always forget to share computer sound. But then when you have video, then how? You know, people cannot hear you. Then they'll be screaming, "Oh, I cannot hear you! I cannot hear you!" So always remember to click share computer sound. So if you share computer sound, if you forget, we just, sometimes we just slip out mind. We are too eager to click share. I teach you another way to share sound. But so that you see, like on my desktop, actually I have a lot of applications open, right? So I got the, you know, PowerPoint, I got my screen, I got my, you know, calendar, my email, etc. So you share the correct thing. Okay. So if you don't know how to share the whole screen. Share the whole screen. Like when I do kindergarten Sunday school, you know, I got YouTube, I got PowerPoint slide. So I don't want to share just PowerPoint slide. I actually share the whole screen so that I can just maneuver faster that way than to close, open, or stop share, pause share, and, you know, select again. So it depends on your function, all right? Your purpose that day. How do you want it? Do what is most comfortable to you. Okay. Then, okay, this is a little bit the technical side. So if you go into your settings, you can actually play with the speaker and the microphone. Okay. In church, we recommend full volume for speaker. The speakers, we turn on full volume because it's easier to reduce the volume than to pump it up. Okay. But for the mic, we usually do about 3/4 because sometimes when you have the microphone on full volume, there might have the, you know, there might be some static sound, right? Because it depends on your setup. But you have to test. So after you do this, you have to test. Okay. Then there's this suppress background noise. So we encourage people to suppress background noise, okay, to or put it on auto mode. So if you put on high mode, so if your dog start barking, you cannot hear at all. But the good thing and the bad thing is, like, you know, when we have, I don't know about your church, but for us, we have prayer meeting. Now our prayer meeting is also online. So we tell people, hey, don't pray for 1 hour, okay? We only give you 3 minutes to pray. Then we need to set an alarm for the person. And then because it's on high suppression, the alarm will be beeping, nobody can hear. Only the one that is, you know, with the alarm can hear. So the person praying will never hear the alarm because it's high suppression. So sometimes we do auto, sometimes we do low. Okay, I'll talk about this a little bit later. And automatically adjust microphone, usually we switch off because usually our speakers are static, they stand straight. However, if you are, you know, we have seen pastors, they love to walk around the stage and move around the stage. This is a big problem for Zoom. The moment they walk across, away from the computer or from the camera, they disappear. And then these kind of people, sorry, cannot say this kind of people. This type of speakers, the worst is when they have virtual background. Because then they move back, move forward, move back. You know, if I imagine I move back, move forward, sometimes the video lag and I'll look like a bit funny, or the person will disappear. You know, and because the mic, if we don't automatically adjust the volume, also sometimes the voice doesn't get picked up. So these people, we actually give them attach the mic to them. But if you don't have, if you only have a very simple setup, like my church in JSM is very simple, very humble setup. So we just have the mic and the speaker, the mic and the video. So we tell them don't move too much. All right, that is the best. Okay. Then after that, you can test the sound, test the mic. Right. If you don't have a response, then you have to tune lah. Right. In case you don't have the response, you have to. If there's no response, you have to choose the correct speaker or choose the correct microphone. Because these days there's a lot of Bluetooth attachment, you know, external attachment. We might not even know. All right. So the TV might be, maybe if you have an external monitor, you know, the sound is projected from there, and that is not turned on or something. So you have to choose the correct microphone and speaker. Okay. I hope I'm not going too fast, but these are quite basic stuff. So next we have is sharing sound. Again, number 18. Okay, slide 18. I'm sure that some of you would like to unmute or mute your microphone, right? Some of us like to press the space bar. I'm not sure if you watch YouTube, you know, when you press the space bar, you actually pause the YouTube. So space bar, the keyboard has many functions. So you can actually pause it. But when you are doing Zoom, don't use the space bar, because the space bar will actually advance the slides for you. So if I press space bar now, you see it advances the slide instead of stopping the video or something like that. All right. So space bar has a slightly different function in Zoom. Okay. Come to this audio. So when we join audio, like I say, do you join with computer audio? Of course, if you are a member of you are here as a member listening to a speaker, you must of course join with computer audio so that you can hear the speaker. So when do you not join? So I have told many, you know, still telling people, you know, do not join when you are on site. That means if you are physically in church or physically at a conference on site, and you know that the people is on Zoom, you know, that means there's live, the speaker is in front of you speaking, and they are also on Zoom. If you join with the computer sound, you will get feedback. So how do you get feedback? Is that, you know, you hear a lot of static, and then like the voice kind of loop in. I don't have an example here. Maybe later if you want, I can show you an example. But I think you have experienced before a lot of noise. There's a lot of noise. Why? Because somebody in church has joined in the computer sound. And you know what I do? I actually go around the church and look at that headphone, you know, and peep into that headphone. I see who is on Zoom, and then tell the person, switch off the sound, switch off the sound. So how do you switch off the sound? You click on the little arrow, and you actually can, you know, turn off the computer sound. So you switch on the little arrow and you go leave computer audio. Right? In the beginning, we don't know. We actually ask them to quit Zoom, you know, quit the Zoom. But some people like to use the Zoom as a, you know, instead of looking at the projection on the wall, the PowerPoint projection, they like to see the headphone. I mean, I don't know why, but we all tell them to leave computer audio. So they can still have the images, just no audio. Like now my handphone in front of me, I have my handphone, you know, as a backup. So I actually have I actually didn't join computer audio. If not, if I press computer audio now, you'll hear the feedback. But I don't do it because it will go crazy. Okay. I can do it later. Okay, to sing or not to sing on Zoom. So my advice is don't sing. It will not be synchronized. Okay. So in my church, we are very blessed. All right. One of our brothers have recorded 200 hymns. Very simple recording of the hymns, congregation singing. So for the last 2 years, we have been using the hymns to play during service. So why is it that you cannot sing? Because when you sing, there'll be lagging. The sound that you hear and the sound I hear is different. You know, by the time you sing, then it won't be melody, all right? It will be a whole mess, all right? So what we do is we don't sing, okay, to the Zoom music. And in case, however, if you're in church, you might have the pianist playing, right? The pianist will be playing. Then I have people over in Zoom. They say they cannot hear the piano playing. Why? Because the piano there's a mic for the piano, but the mic is to pipe into the church speaker, not to the Zoom. So they cannot hear the piano playing. People on Zoom cannot hear. So there's two ways. One way is you click the show in meeting, turn on original sound, right? You turn on the original sound so that it will pick up, or you put the what's it called, the suppressed background noise, right? I told you just now about the suppressed background noise. You turn it off, you make it low so that you can pick up surrounding sound. But the danger is then you will pick up a lot of noise at the same time. But at least you can hear the playing. So another way is after if the person finish playing on the piano or the musical instrument, you can go back to suppress sound. But I can still tell you that even if you turn on original sound, the sound of the piano is very woody. It sounds like it's very choppy. Okay, it's very choppy. It's not like what you hear in church. So of course, we pray that one day we can quickly, soon, near future, maybe hopefully by New Year, we can all go back to church. I mean, I think Zoom still can continue. We should still continue with Zoom, but we should go back to church, right? After Assembly of God. Okay. Somebody just drew another line. All right. Okay, so there's this function called whiteboard, right? Whiteboard is very good. If you use whiteboard, a white screen will appear and you can actually scribble. So if I share whiteboard, you can actually use it as notes to write notes for your to teach. Okay. Recently there's something called KIAP. It's a little gadget. It's actually a mirror, periscope. You know, like the what's that called? What's that called? Submarine. They have the lens. So actually there's a little gadget that can attach to your camera, and you can actually draw in front of the laptop, right? And use that. But another way is to use this whiteboard. Okay, another way is to use this whiteboard. So in the whiteboard, you can scribble things and so on. Actually, there's many ways. You can also use external, you know, like we have this external tablet that you can draw and connect, and then you can draw on the screen as well. So there's many things. This one Office give, so it's quite, but it's not a very good one, so I don't use it. So you can do many ways, right? But I just show you. We can talk about that a bit more if you are interested. So there's another way. It's called sharing PowerPoint as a virtual background. It's quite fun. It's quite fun. So I show you an example. Like recently, I gave a lesson, right, on nutrition lesson, and then I have myself in front of the virtual background. The problem is, note here that when you use PowerPoint as a virtual background, right? Okay, sorry. Before that, in case you don't know where is it, it's under the advanced. So when you click share screen, there's basic and advanced. If you click on advanced, you can see this PowerPoint as virtual background, but it's a beta. It's beta means it's still in the trial stage, and you can actually put yourself in front of the PowerPoint. So it's quite fun. However, when you use this function, the sound and the animation will stop working. So if you got animation, like I got pictures popping out, it will not work. Then the sound will not play. So you have to be aware of that. But it's quite fun, you know. Okay. Then I want to share a video with you. It's called share portion of the screen. So I want to take a break and then I show you this video. And it's a very good function. Okay. Personally, I don't quite use it, but it's a good function. So let me show you the video. Okay.
In this video, I'll show you how to use Presenter View Preview in PowerPoint, along with a feature of Zoom to share only a portion of your screen, to allow you, if you only have one screen, to show your audience in Zoom your slides as if it was slideshow view, but you, as the presenter, get to see your presenter view that has all of your notes and the preview of the next slide. So let's look at my screen here. I have a Zoom meeting already going, and I have my PowerPoint presentation that has notes in the notes section and some of my slides, most of the slides actually. And so the first thing I want to do is to make sure that I'm set up properly. So I'll check on the slideshow ribbon. I'll check in Setup Slideshow. I'll make sure it's the default presented by a speaker, and I'll make sure presenter view has been selected. And I click OK. So to get into Presenter View Preview, and this was something that was added a few years ago in PowerPoint, so you do have to have a modern version of PowerPoint to do this. But I'm going to press Alt F5. Alt F5, and it will show me Presenter View on my single screen. Because again, it's wanting to preview it for you. Now, you can adjust Presenter View. Normally, it starts usually looking like this, where your next slide is a little smaller. This slide is here, and we have our notes. And then we would normally go through our presentation, but we want the audience to see just our slides and see them exactly as they would in slideshow mode. And so what we're going to do is we're going to use a feature of Zoom to share only a portion of the screen. But how do we get back to Zoom, because this took up the whole screen? We're going to use Alt-Tab to go back to our Zoom controls. And in Zoom, I'm going to say Share My Screen. And I'm going to go, normally it's on the basic, I'm going to go to the Advanced tab, and I'm going to select Portion of the Screen. Then I'm going to click Share. Now what it does is it gives you a green rectangle usually the size of the rectangle you used before, for this particular sharing of a portion of the screen. So what we want to do is we want to make the slide that the audience is going to see a little larger than the default. So I'll move over in slideshow, in presenter view. I'll move this over so slide is a little larger. And I'll move, let's say, this down. And I can then adjust my green rectangle using the corner handle here to fit it to my slide. And you'll notice the slide has a border around it, which makes it easier to show. Now, obviously, you want to do all of this before your audience shows up in the Zoom meeting room so they don't see you fiddling around with this. But once you've done this, now you are sharing just your slide in the Zoom meeting. They're not seeing your notes or anything else in presenter view, but you can see that. Now, obviously, in presenter view, you might need to move your Zoom window around. So it's
Okay, I'm going to stop for this already, the video, because, oh, sorry.
in this video.
You can watch the video on your own at your own time. I've embedded the link in the PowerPoint slides. So this is very useful when, especially when you have only one laptop. You don't have external screen or anything. And then, once you click share screen, the whole screen is filled up with your PowerPoint. So you cannot maneuver, you cannot read your scripts. So at a presentation, sometimes you still need your script because the script is, help you along. So that's where you need this presenter's view. Okay. Then later I'll teach you another way. Okay. Chat, I mentioned already. So there's something called waiting room, right? I think some of you might know that there's something called waiting room. If you click on participant, you can actually disable the waiting room. So like now we see always, we're on your computer, I'm sure you see a lot of people admitting, right, at the same time, right? So if you don't want to admit them, you just want to come in, just go to the participants and check off the meeting room. Okay, and right, look out for notification. No, you can chat with people in the waiting room as well. Okay, and so if you tell people, oh, please rename yourself. Some people came in, it's a telephone name, the Galaxy, don't know what, iPhone. So their name is funny names, their mobile number. So we want them to change it before we admit them. So we can chat with them over the thing. But I noticed that some of them, again, they don't read their message. So even you type 20 times, nobody cares, right? So so in your participant, did I miss out a slide? Sorry, give me a minute now. I think, okay, no, I didn't. Okay, in the participant chat, the function, is very powerful again. Click on the 3 dots and you can do a lot of things. You can ask all to unmute. Okay, the good thing about asking, you can click allow participant to unmute themselves. You can check it off. So when you click it and there's no tick, there's no check, means it's not on. But the one already speaking, like I'm already speaking, no problem. You can click anytime and stop everybody from speaking, but the one speaking will still be able to continue to speak. So that is the good part. So sometimes what we do is that we allow anybody to unmute themselves. For the pre-worship prayer, we got prayer meeting. We encourage people to pray over the internet, right? So we allow them to unmute. But once the service starts, because we don't want people to disrupt the service, we will click do not unmute. Do not allow them to unmute. Right, then enabling the waiting room. Okay, that is also quite a good function. So you can also lock the meeting. That everybody is in already. You don't want strangers to come in. You can lock the meeting. Okay, you can play a sound when somebody joins. This is useful, especially if you are preparing something and you let the sound play. Then you can go and admit the person, because sometimes the person will be waiting and waiting. You didn't even know that there's a person waiting at the waiting room. Okay, and how do you rename? Some of our elderly members, they don't know how to rename themselves. So you go to the participant, you mouse over the word. Mouse over means you put the cursor over it, and then you right click, and you can actually rename. Okay, so that's one thing. Okay, then this is my favorite one. This is my favorite function: how to run PowerPoint in a resizable window. So just now, the video taught you portion of the screen. Okay, now I'm teaching you no need portion of the screen. So how do you do it? Okay, so if you have only one screen, right, if you have only one computer, one laptop, then how do you have many things going on at the same time? So what I do is, these are the instructions. if you have the slides, you can go and follow it slowly, but I will show you the picture here. So if you go to your PowerPoint, there's something called slideshow. One of the tabs is slideshow, and you click on setup slideshow. So when you set up slideshow or setup show, you click the second one, browse by an individual window. So when you click on that and you click OK, so what will happen is, right? What will happen is it will be like this. It's very interesting. So what I usually when I'm teaching, all right, this is the setup. This is my standard setup. So you see just now the advanced, the video, the YouTube video, the guy said there's a green rectangle. So the green rectangle here, I'm sharing just my PowerPoint. But because my PowerPoint is on a resizable window, it's very interesting. You can do it now even, while you're listening to me. You open a PowerPoint and you click slide share and you click on resizable window. You can actually resize the PowerPoint, what's that called, slideshow. So I usually will have my computer. Imagine this is my whole desktop. I will have my PowerPoint on one corner. Then I will have my Excel file at the back because I need to mark attendance. Okay. I will have my script at the back, so that I can read my script. I don't like to use presenter's view script because sometimes my script is very long. Then I cannot scroll down. I'll miss part of the script. But I prefer to put my script in a very old-fashioned sometimes. I like to put my script in a Word document. Then at the same time, I can have my participant on one end, on one corner, so I can still see my participant. So I know, with a bit of facial expression, at least I know if you are listening to me, and some people will nod, some people will shake head. Then at least I can cope with that. Then I can have my Google at the back. So I feel that using this presenter's view is quite a good function. I urge you to go and play with it. If you want to learn more about PowerPoint tricks, that is another session that I can conduct. Okay, I have a lot of PowerPoint tricks to share with you because I teach for so many years already, right? So PowerPoint has been in my life for the last 25 years of teaching. So I have been using PowerPoint. Okay, breakout rooms. Okay, I think one of the concern is breakout rooms because we don't want just one-way interaction. We want to have group discussion. So how do you do breakout room? Very simple. Go to the three dots, click on breakout room, and then this will appear. You can actually, what's it called? Create. Actually, before this, there's another slide that says manually or automatically. So I usually do manually. This is the manual way. Okay, I'll teach you another way later. So whoever that is in the group, the names will be all listed here. So you can assign them one by one. But however, with a group of 287, it's impossible to do manually before during message or during the lesson time. So you have to do beforehand. So how do you do beforehand? You will have to go to your Zoom. When you do your meeting, okay, you either go to the web version. Okay, you have to go. I think you have to go to the web version. It's not you have to go to your Google. You open your Google or Explorer or Safari. You have to go into Zoom in the web. I call it Zoom web Zoom. And you have to click on the schedule a meeting. And when you click on schedule a meeting, all right, you scroll down. There's one thing called option. Okay, you scroll down. There's an option. And option you click breakout room pre-assign. So in breakout room pre-assign, you can create the rooms and you can put the person's email. The thing is that the person must have a Zoom account. If your church members don't have a Zoom account, there's a lot of people who have no Zoom account. That means you send them the URL, they click on it, it's on the web. They don't even have to sign in Zoom. But for pre-assignment, you need a Zoom account, okay? Internal or external Zoom user, okay? If the pre-assigned participant, there are external Zoom user, that means not in the same organization. I think most of us are not in the same organization. Then you have to import a CSV file. So how do you import CSV file? I give you the link. You can go to Zoom web and see. Actually, it's just an Excel file, but they have certain criteria. So go into Zoom web, the link here. They will tell you what are the first column, second column, third column. The first column, I think, if I'm not wrong, is the email. Then the second column is the username or something. So you must do a Excel file, right, with all your data inside, save it as a CSV file. After that, you can import it into Zoom. then you can pre-assign. Okay, if not, then you have to have someone, we have to do the old-fashioned way, somebody has to be at the back, and the little elf at the back have to go and click on all the names and assign them, which is a bit of a stress and a hassle. It's okay if your class is 40. 40 is very easy, very fast, 10 groups, 5 groups is very fast because you know your students very well. But when you have new students or someone you don't know and you want to break up into groups, then you have to use that. Okay, if you, sorry, did somebody say something? Faster, Ricky, I'll mute you. Okay. All right, so that is that. Then other things like create shortcut. Okay, this create shortcut is I mean, it's not an essential function, but in church, sometimes our pastors a bit senior, they don't know where is Zoom, or your family members, they don't know where Zoom is, they don't know how to click on the laptop or on the handphone. On the handphone is easy, actually. They know how to sweep the screen, swipe. But on the computer, sometimes what we do is that we can use this way to add a little icon on the desktop. So when they click on it, they automatically join into the Zoom meeting that is for Sunday. Okay, so for our Sunday service, so pastors don't need to go and find the Zoom, enter the name, enter the whatever. You can do this. Okay, so it goes straight into the Zoom, right? So that's how you can create the shortcut. Okay, so basically, if you right click, okay, if I go back to the steps again, you right click on your desktop and you create a shortcut. Then you fill in the URL. So what's the URL? Usually the Zoom URL is zoom.us and then with the J slash with the J, then with the ID. Or you can copy from the, just now, remember I told you the green button on the screen? You can copy from there as well. Okay. Then you have that. Okay. The other share option I mentioned about share sound. So if you forget to share sound, when you click new share, if you try to do a new share now, I mean, you can't because I'm sharing my screen. But if you click a share and you forgot the share sound check, you can also go to more and click share sound. Okay, so it's very irritating when people cannot hear your sound. Then they ask you, can hear or not? Can hear or not? Cannot hear? Can hear? This is where your lesson become not so smooth. Okay. So yeah, there's that. Okay, and then remote control. Okay, remote control is very useful, especially when you want to meddle with the person's slides, that you found that there's a mistake on the slides and the person doing the Zoom doesn't know how to edit. So you can actually do remote control and edit the person's slides. However, with remote control, must be careful because not saying very careful, you must have a lot of patience. Number one, it's not fast. The reaction is not very fast. So you have to click a few times, then get it moving. Okay. That if not, then you have to do the you give remote control, right? After you click remote control, then you can choose who to give remote control to. Okay, so like now I click on remote control, actually I can see all your names there, and I actually can give permission to whoever that wants to do remote control. So it's very useful if like the other day, we noticed that, the dates on the worship service was wrong. Okay, and then my pastor panicking, don't know what to do. All right, so I went in and I asked for remote control, right? I request remote control. I went in and I actually changed the date. No, actually not me, somebody else, not me. I cannot say it's me. Yeah, so what we do is we go through remote control. So that is quite a useful tool. Okay. Yeah. Then we always, before service or before anything, we always do a test. We encourage all the chairman and the speaker to do a test of the remote control and so on. So remote control is also useful. Is like, for example, like say okay, Dr. Paul Chu is preaching, okay, but I'm sharing the slides on another computer from another place. But he prefers to. Oh, Leonard, you are drawing, Leonard. So if you prefer to, like, say, control his own slides, he doesn't want me to control the slides. So I can give him remote control so that he can control the slides. So, and in that case, do a test beforehand, right? Do a test, make sure that everybody is clicking all working so that you don't have this you know, this confusion. Okay, do not, you know, it's like in Singapore, I mean, Singapore is famous for taking exams, right? So we always say don't try new tricks just before the exam. You must have a rehearsal, get yourself familiarized before you do this. Okay, so in case you okay, a little bit more, hide the floating meeting control. So sometimes we want our screen to be very clean. We don't want anything, especially when you are projecting it on the big projector on the wall, you know, projection on the wall. You can actually hide the floating meeting control, right? Floating meeting control. You hide it, then the screen will be clear. Then you will have no less disruption. Okay. Then hotkeys. These are some shortcuts, some shortcuts. You can use hotkeys. Okay. Hymn slides have sound, right? You know, in church we play hymns, right? Online participants should be able to hear the music. Then on site, those on PA can also broadcast, can also hear. So you know, so you can also request. These are just a summary of what I say. Check for audacity. Okay, make sure it's clear. Okay, where you are here, what is important is at the bottom here. When you are the chairman or you are the speaker, like just now when I'm playing the video, if you notice that at the beginning, right, suddenly the video stopped. Why did it stop? It's because I was playing the mute button. I went to click mute. It doesn't matter what button you touch, okay? As long as you touch any Zoom function, the video will stop. So when you are having a video or a sound music going on at the background, you are playing through Zoom, you must not touch your mouse. You know, we are very, I mean, I know we are just very prone to meddle. When there's a free time, you know, we like to meddle with the functions. You have to restrict yourself. So if you are the one doing church worship service, because church worship service now have music embedded, have video embedded, and so on. So many things, complicated things. You just cannot touch your keyboard. Don't touch your keyboard. The only thing you can is you move your mouse, but don't click. Okay, so that is the thing. If not, your music will stop. So if you wonder why come my music suddenly stop, it's because you went to touch the mute button or stop video button or even click on the chat. So we tell people, if you are the chairman, don't click on anything when the music is going on. Okay. So what we do is that in church, in our church, the church Zoom is not the host. Someone at home will host. The church Zoom will be just a normal participant, but we allow them to share screen. We don't even make them co-host. We don't even make them co-host so that they cannot read chat. The chat will not pop up. You know, we don't allow chat. So no chats will pop out. If anybody wants to chat with the host, and the host is somewhere at home or on another side, so that it will not disrupt the service. Okay? So that's what we do. All right. Just now, earlier on, I mentioned about, you know, from the start. At the start, I talked about a meeting. So this is recurring meeting. Okay, recurring meeting. So like for my class, I'm too lazy to start a Zoom ID for every class. So I have 3 classes, right? These are my 3 classes. So I use one common ID. I don't care. I just use one common ID. And I click recurring meeting. Okay, so when I click recurring meeting, this ID will perpetually be there. Okay, so you don't have to worry and say, oh, I forgot the ID. You know, because we have too many IDs around, you know, and then our history, I think for you all using handphone, right, you know that, hey, after when you key in, the latest one will always appear on, you know, and then the old ones will disappear. Then after a while you say, you know, where is my ID? Where's my ID? I cannot find. Okay, so we try not to have too many IDs. Then the security, you can also add in a security, okay, and use like easier to remember name. Like you can use your church is, like my church is Jesus Safe Mission. So we have Jesus Safe Mission, JSF, that is our code. Then we have youth worship, JSFYW. You know, something easy to remember. Our numbers that are easy to play, to enter. You know, if you let the computer do the auto generation, it gets very complicated. Because they have, for security reasons, they will have capital letters, small letters, and funny characters. Then you have a problem, right? Especially when people are not so tech savvy, they cannot handle the complication. Okay. Then recording and live transcript. Okay, I mentioned about live transcript. You see this here. I have this good evening. How is everybody? So I tried live transcript. When I speak very properly, slowly, the transcription is good. But when I speak in my Singlish, or when I start to use short form or slangs, then the computer, the AI cannot pick up. Then you have gibberish on the wall. Then I will have people texting me and telling me, it's too irritating. It's too distracting. Can you turn off? Then you have one person to tell you to turn on and one person to tell you to turn off. So what to do, right? I teach you a trick, okay? In order to transcribe, you can do this live transcription. You can ask somebody to do it. So you call it assign a participant to type. So now if I want, I can ask, I can assign one of you to type I tried that with once before. One of our speakers was speaking and I tried live transcript and I'm very fast in my typing. So I was quite happy with myself. I'm a bit proud of myself that, wow, I type so fast. Wow, he speak, I type, he speak, I type. You know what my deaf congregation or my hearing impact congregation people told me at the end? They say, you are too fast. You type too fast. We couldn't follow. We couldn't finish reading. You already changed the line. Next line. And then I'm like, oh, so I thought I'm doing a service. In the end, I'm doing a disservice because they couldn't read and they couldn't see the sign. My church has deaf congregation. So you have to catch the momentum well. Then I realized, forget it, don't need to live transcript. You know what I do? I ask the speaker for the notes beforehand. And I actually type the words into the PowerPoint. So I have the PowerPoint, right? So at the bottom here, like this evening, how is everybody? Actually embed it into the PowerPoint. But hopefully the speaker or the preacher follow the script. So if the preacher cannot follow the script or he or she doesn't go very close to the script, then you will have a problem because then the script will not tally with the words. So pros and cons, right? Another, okay, so recording also, okay, recording you make co-host. More function on Zoom website. So after you record, what happens? We always click record, then what happens? Where does it go? So I think today, is it recorded today? I don't even realize, I don't think it's recorded today. But if you record, then where does it go? Okay. Oh yes, it's recorded. Sorry, that's on the beginning we mentioned already. So if you go to your Zoom, web Zoom on the website, you click recording, it will list. So my lesson is automatically recorded. So like I say, I use one ID, right? So it's just the same one, or the same one will appear. But it's all right. You just go by the time. For me, I go by the time and the date. Then I know which class is it already. So it's quite easy, because I don't have that many. But if you have many, then you use a different ID. It will appear. The ID will appear. The topic will appear. Okay, so today is called optimizing Zoom. So today the topic will appear here is optimizing Zoom. Okay. Then more function, you can also do a survey, a poll. All right. So what you do is, again, you go to the web Zoom website, and then you can click on meeting and click on poll. Right. Then you can ask your question. So I can do that if I want to, and I say, like for example, the last lesson, because of the COVID, I asked my students, do you want face-to-face lesson or a lab, a final lab? Because I teach food science, all right? So food science, we have to do lab. So some students are shy. They don't want to put up their hand. Because I say, okay, who wants to stay at home? Actually, some people in their heart, they want to stay at home. They don't want to come to class. But when I ask, they dare not put up their hand. So I use a poll because it's anonymous, right? So you can also ask, engage your participants a bit, okay? But this one, you have to go through the website. So if you set your meeting, you schedule your meeting, you can go to the poll, do a poll, and then the moment the meeting starts, you can launch the poll. You will see the icon on the top, on the menu bar to ask you to launch. Then you can see here to launch a poll if you have a poll. I can't see any now because I didn't do one, right? Okay. Some reports, like attendance. Okay, how do you know who attended your Zoom meeting, who dropped out, who came in? So you can go to reports and use usage reports, and you can click on all of them and slowly go and download and play with it. So the problem with attendance taking is that it goes by timestamp. So if the person happened to drop out of the network, the network drop out and join again, so it will appear 2-3 times. Okay, so you have to clean up your data for this. right? Translation, okay, for us, not for me, sorry, for the preachers, it's very useful to use translation. So what do is that in your Zoom, you can again go to the website and then you can assign languages. So this is not like, oh, it's not auto translation. It's you have to assign somebody to translate. So I think, if I'm not wrong, a lot of overseas people are doing this, because then you can translate into like Bahasa Indonesia, translate to Tagalog, translate to Cantonese, any language. So you have a person at the site, at another Zoom location. So what you do is that after you set it up, okay, after you set it up in your schedule meeting, on your handphone, you schedule meeting, or on your laptop, you can go to this function and you scroll down, that's called translation. After calendar, advanced option, there's translation. And you click enable language translation. So you can have which channel, who is the person translating and which channel. So then when you talk, the translation, you can click on interpretation. So if you have this set up, this icon will appear. If not normal time, it will not appear. Then you can click on this and you can hear the interpretation. So like say, okay, I'm speaking in English. Okay, so my voice will be suppressed to 20% of the volume. Then the translator, if you are listening to Chinese or Tagalog, the person translating will be louder than me. So you can hear me softer a bit, but you can hear the translator louder. Good and bad. Good and bad. Bad thing is a bit destructive. Okay, because as an audience, from the audience point of view, and if the speaker speak too fast, the translator cannot catch up. So in my church, usually we have like Mandarin and English for combined service, right? So we will speak one after another. I say it's quite well coordinated like that, rather than translation, because sometimes translation, the timing is off. The speaker happily speaking away, like a running train, especially in Singapore, we speak so fast, like a running train, then the translator has problem. So again, another way is rehearse. Do a rehearsal, get the momentum right. Okay. Of course, now we can go on live YouTube. You can broadcast on Facebook. In order to do so, you must have a YouTube account. You must have a Facebook account. So if you don't have, then the function will not appear. Because nowadays the computer is so smart, right? Everything is kind of connected. So if you click on live, if you click on go live, right? If you have a Facebook account, they will actually ask you, do you want to go Facebook account? But the host can do it, like not everybody can do it. Only the host can do it. Okay, so you can go on Facebook, you can stream. So if this session, I know that this session is not on Facebook because or live on YouTube, because if it's live on YouTube, there will be a little icon at the corner. See at the corner they say live on Facebook, live on YouTube. Okay, so it's quite fun because I don't have a YouTube account, so when I click, I only choose Facebook. But if you have a YouTube account, like my church has a YouTube account, we can click live on YouTube. So good and bad again. When do you want to go on live? Is when you want to reach out to many people. There's unlimited. You don't have to say, oh, only 500 people can join my Zoom. Only 200, because it depends on how much is your Zoom account. If your Zoom account is the free one, you can only have one person, right? If your Zoom account is the paid one, like my university one, I think up to 100 or 500. Okay, but if you want thousands, then you have to go on YouTube. My church, we don't like to go on YouTube, not because we don't like technology, but because we like to know who is in the service. Because Jesus Say Mission is not a very big church, it's quite a small church. So we like to know who is in the service. So we prefer to have some control. So we don't go on YouTube. But our youth service, we do go on YouTube because it's easier to record, easier to send the link and game. Using Zoom recording sending is still quite a troublesome thing. Okay. Yeah, that's the end. Yay, I made it. 1 hour. So if you have questions, I will take questions. All right. If you got more functions that you want me to explain, I can share. Yeah. If you look at Lito Soriano, she has the light, or he has the light, that ring. So if you look at his camera now, he has that ring. So that one will illuminate your face like a YouTuber. So you turn that on, your face will be brightened up. Okay.
Johanna, you want to stop your sharing so that we
Yes.
have a big screen?
Stop. Okay. Terry,
Okay.
Terry have a question.
Yeah, I have a question. Okay, my question is, some students, when they enter the classroom and they forgot to mute themselves.
Okay. Wait.
Okay. Can you hear me, Johanna?
All right. This is God is good. After I finished my presentation, my network hanged. So now I have to convert to my phone. This is the reason why I convert to my phone. So just now, did somebody say something? I missed it.
Okay, thank God. Okay, Johanna, I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, for example, some students, when they enter the classroom, they forgot to mute themselves, so will disturb the speakers or preachers. So how do they mute themselves before they enter the classroom?
So when you click, so that's what I think one of my slides I say, when you go in, okay, you join computer sound, you have to click do mute. Is it mute? I can't remember. Oh, suddenly offhand I can't remember. But you can play with it before you enter, like stop video, don't show video, right? Anybody can help me? I remember I can stop video and I can press the mute. And usually what I do is I don't join computer sound until I am in, then I click join computer sound, but I make sure my mic, the mic is off. That means there has the red mic, the mic has a red line across.
Okay.
I know some people, they don't know what is the difference between unmute and mute. They say, do I click to unmute or click not to unmute? Just this morning, my church friend asked me, hey, do I click? Click is no or click is yes? So if the picture says there's a red line, means no. Okay, the mic has a red line, means no. The video has a red line, means off. No mute, no mic, no video.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Antonio got questions?
Hello, good evening, ma'am. I just have a question.
Yes.
This is my experience during the large group Zoom seminars. We are using a control, a computer in a control room to project the Zoom to a large screen. At the same time, we use it for sounds.
Yes.
And then, so that the speaker can hear us, we are using another cell phone as a camera for the participants at the same time, every time the speaker can ask question. But the problem is there's always feedbacks.
Yes.
How can we eliminate those feedbacks?
This is a good question. That's why the handphone must not join computer sound. The handphone must not join computer sound. We tried that so many ways, we tried. Like I mentioned just now, if there's somebody playing the piano, right? People on Zoom cannot hear the piano because there's no input of the sound from the piano. So we tried to put a phone there and turn on the sound. Whoa, and the whole feedback came and go crazy. So the sound must be picked up from the PA system on the computer, right? So you have the PA system, right? Going on, right? So the PA system, the computer will pick up the sound from the PA system. But the camera on the handphone, you do not join with computer sound. Then you will just have the image. So this is good because last Sunday it happened. For some reason, our church video cam died. For some reason, okay, maybe the mouse came overnight and ate up the cable or not, we don't know. And we have sound because the sound is picked up from the computer from the PA system by the computer, but we have no image. So we quickly grab an iPad and turn on the iPad to use as a video and join the Zoom, but no sound. So you cannot mute now. You must do the join without computer audio. So if you allow me to share screen again, so you can see, we can see my slides. You have to go to this one that says, here, join with computer audio. That means when you go in, you click the box. Okay, and if it's on the handphone, also you click the box, click the cross, and don't join the computer audio, so that the mic, okay, so that the, oops.
We're not seeing it, Joanna.
Oh, you're not seeing it, huh?
No.
Let me try again. Share second screen. Okay. Can you see? Yeah.
Yeah.
We can
There's
see.
no
It's
picture.
a bit slow. It's a bit slow.
We cannot see.
Yeah, it's a bit slow. I think it's because my network on my laptop died. So I'm using my phone. Okay, but never mind. I send you the screen. It's on slide 5. Sorry, not slide 5. Slide. Let me see what slide is that. That maybe when Terry send you the script, you can see.
So, Ma'am Joanna, it means we need a. It should be the computer in the control room should capture the microphones.
Yes, the computer
the
in the computer room should capture the microphone. You're right.
Okay, so there should be a device or something that should connect computer to the PA system.
Yes.
Okay.
So the input will be the mic from the PA system. So your sound input is from the mic from the PA system, not from the handphone for the camera.
Okay, so from microphone to PA system to computer.
Yes.
That is the setup. Okay, thank you.
So in my church, we have 2 computers. We have a master computer laptop and we have a slave laptop. So we have 2 laptops. So the slave laptop is in front of the pulpit, at the front of the pulpit, and the master is at the back in the PA room, right? So the slave there, they can click. They can talk. The sound is picked up from there, and the video as well. But the master has a control. So we do a slave and master setup. So if you can get your PA people, that is also an option. It's a cheap way, cheap and good way. Doesn't cost a lot of money. Low budget way. If not, the handphone works, because that's what happened when we have an emergency. Just happened only on yesterday. We had an emergency. So the laptop, the iPad came in. So stand by a few people with handphone and iPad. Like I say, don't join with computer sound. So anytime they can just turn on the video and show. So actually what we do in church is to make you feel at home that we are in the congregation. We have a camera just to show the congregation. You know what I'm saying? We have a camera that's not on sound, just to turn it to the congregation, so the people at home can actually see the congregation in the church and at the speaker at the same time. So if they want to feel like they're in church, they can see the congregation next to them. That's just for fun, but it's useful when we have a breakdown of the technology.
Thank you so much, Ma'am.
Like today, when I'm giving the sharing, I learned over the years, I will have the computer, my laptop, and the handphone. Because for some reason, at one point, the network will die at my house. Maybe I didn't pay for the expensive one. Okay, other people, sorry, there's more people with hands up. Is it Leo? Leo, you have a question?
Yes, just now I saw one function very good, live transcript.
Yes.
Yeah, how can I open it? Because there's no this button on my toolbar here.
Okay, when you live transcript, it depends on if you are a free account or you are a more complicated account.
Paid
account. So I think if it's if it's a paid account or the corporate account, then the live transcript will appear. If it's a free account, I think live transcript might not be there. You check.
Okay.
For the 3 dots, if you click on the 3 dots.
Yeah, there's no.
Oh, but no, now at this moment don't have. You know why? Only the host can have it.
I'm the host.
You're the host. How come you don't have it?
I don't have.
You check the three dots, got the three dots or not?
Yeah, I got the 3 dots. So the
You go
live
live
on Facebook, live on Mark Workplace by Facebook, live on
no
YouTube.
live transcript, huh?
No.
Mhm. Then you have to go back to your website, the web Zoom, and see if your live transcript function is turned on.
Okay, it is under which column, meeting or?
It should be under, oh, that one I have to Google. Let me check. Let me go into my Zoom and see. It should be under, or do a search. Do a search for live transcript, then it will appear.
Okay.
Okay.
I go and try.
Yeah,
Thanks.
you go through.
Ronnie?
Should be under settings. Okay, anybody?
Hey, please go ahead. Just please go ahead. Don't have to delay.
And I just want to ask, if you were the host, could it be possible for you to like mute the sound before the participants will enter?
Yes, go to participants. Maybe Terry, you have the backup slides. Maybe you like to pull up the slides. Then they can see. If you go to participant, you know the participant, you click on participant. Then at the three dots, you go to participants on slide number 30. No, where is it? Let's see. If you click on participants, the three dots next to participants, you will see the one that says mute upon mute. Let me see where's my slide. Now I get kanchong cannot find. When you are nervous, you cannot find your slides. Yeah, I have it here. I'm so silly. Okay, if you go to the participant, the chat, the window, you click on the three dots, you will see ask all to unmute. Okay, if you are the host or the co-host, you can do it, not the participants. Okay, it's quite in front, I think. Where is it? Okay. Slide number 26. Or you can click on the hyperlink. Okay, so if you go to the if you go to slide 26, yes. So you can see under the three dots, you have many options. You can mute participant upon entry. You check it. So when they enter, it's already unmute. Already muted. Then you can allow participant to unmute themselves. You don't check it. You click so that there's no tick on it. No tick means they cannot. So they cannot. No matter how they try to unmute, they can't. So that is how I do it. Okay.
Hi, Joanna. This is Erica from Philippines. I would just like to ask, were you able also to explore the apps feature of Zoom? And if you were able to, which apps do you recommend to use? Maybe to engage audience, or which apps have you used already? And maybe some recommendations also.
Again, I don't quite get the question. That means the app to use when you're in Zoom?
Yep, in the Zoom software, there is a feature called apps, where I think they have built in some softwares integrated already with Zoom. Do you have recommendations? Which apps are best to use for which purpose?
Okay, now Zoom is getting more and more complicated. Literally, right? Like you say, there's apps and all this. To be honest, the apps I have not tried. You know why? Because my university account doesn't link to it. But whatever apps you use, the most important is you must be very comfortable and very confident. So you know what I do? Before all these apps comes in, I actually use Google, because my students all have Google account. So what I do, I even draw on Google. I don't use their whiteboard, no. So I actually open a Google, because Google can draw, Google can do forms, Google can edit docs, right? And all these, right? Documents, Excel, PowerPoint, everything. So I have one Google and I open a blank sheet and I ask everybody, I send a QR code and get everybody to be on it. And so everybody can start doodling on the Google Draw. That is even before all the apps appear. So if you are familiar with the apps, go ahead, do it. So I mean, I won't suggest say whose app or which app, because it really depends on how familiar the person is with those apps. So if they are not familiar, no app is good. Yeah.
Okay, no worries. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Good evening. I would just like to ask what Zoom subscription plan does feature the language interpretation.
Oh,
And-
which subscription plan? I think the free one I think don't have, if I'm not wrong.
And if we switch on the language interpretation, does all the participants be able to hear the translation, or only those who would like to?
Yes, those who would like to, they will have to click on to the translation. So you have to set it up. Like now, I can't do anything because the meeting didn't have a translation set up. Remember, you must go to the web and set up the translation first. Go to the, when you schedule a meeting, you must allow translation. Then that translation button will appear. And the person that you assign to translate will then be able to speak. Then as I'm an audience, right, I can choose to listen to the translation or not. So you can choose language. You can click on the translation and you can choose the language to translate. So you can translate to like up to 10, if I'm not wrong, 10 languages. Then you choose the channel that you want. So you can only hear the original, say the original is in English, 20% volume, and 80% volume is the translation.
So you mean the translator is a part of the participant, is one of the participants?
Yes, it's one of the participants. It's not
Assigned.
automatic. Translation is different from transcription.
Okay,
Transcription is typing the subtitle. That one also you can have a person typing, or you can have the auto, like YouTube. YouTube, you can click subtitles.
Yes,
YouTube,
yes.
you click subtitles, it will appear. So it's the same, because now they tie up with YouTube. So at one point you have to pay, now don't need, they auto. But however, like I said, the English must be good. If not, it will be all funny translation. Then and the what's that called, the transcription is the right. So transcription is the subtitles. Translation is a real human talking. Like United Nations. Every time you see United Nations on TV, they will have the headphones, right? So the speaker is in front talking in English, and then the headphone is feeding another sound. Yeah. Oh, just now back to the apps. I went to Google. Oh, there's a lot of apps. Like Miro and Kahoot is what we use in Singapore a lot. Okay, but I don't like to use Miro and Kahoot because Kahoot is too cartoon for my students.
I cannot hear her.
Oh, sorry. I think I got accident. I was saying that whatever account that you, whatever apps you use, if Kahoot is a bit childish, like I say, but it's quite fun. Miro, you have to sign up a new account sometimes. So and then Miro, when you download, is a bit more problematic. So I prefer to, for me personally, I like to use Google, because Google can have everything at one time. You share the folder, everything is there. You can deposit everything. Yeah, Miro is quite common now also.
Okay, can I follow up question last?
Yeah.
If I assign 3 languages in one meeting,
yeah.
Okay, so the participants can just choose if they remain to listen to English, and then they choose Chinese or whatever assigned.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. I think up to 10, if I'm not wrong. I can't remember the number. Up to 10 or something. But it has to be I think if I'm not wrong, it has to be a paid account.
Okay, good evening.
Hi.
From Tacloban, Philippines. In one account of Zoom, can you use it at the same time?
Can you use it at the same time?
Yeah, I'm using now, and then the other person wants to use it
Can.
the same time.
You know what I do? What I do is, like for example, I will open one. I'm a host, okay, for one account, for one meeting. Then I have to attend another Zoom meeting myself, right? So what I do is that I transfer host to my friend. So I transfer host to my friend, then I can leave. I can leave the meeting. Then I go to and I use my same account and I join another meeting. You just cannot be the host.
Okay.
You can be on two meetings with one account, you know. So sometimes when I'm very bad, I have a clash of meeting. I have one computer on one meeting and another computer on another meeting. But that is
Like
not a good.
what happened is this. Somebody is using the other account. He has his own class, and I have also my prayer meeting.
Yes, can. You give him a
So
host.
it's okay.
You transfer host. So if I'm the host for one of them, say your prayer meeting, right? You are the host. Okay, then
Yes.
a Sunday school is going on and using your account. So you have to start two meetings, right? So you start one first. You start the Sunday school one first, and then you transfer host to your friend, to a teacher or somebody, okay? And then you can leave the meeting. The meeting will still go on. Okay, then you join in your prayer meeting one. You start your prayer meeting one.
Okay. What about if he has his own time, and I want also to start mine.
So you have to start one first. You have to choose one to start first and leave. You cannot have two you cannot sign two at the same time. You can only sign one, transfer host, you leave, then you sign another one.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Thank you so much.
Can, as long as you're not the host.
So
the best is you give the host to somebody, or have the alternate, you know, remember the alternative host, the option? Any more questions?
Nani, go ahead.
Okay, hi, Joanna. In a classroom setting, what is your experience about the focus mode?
Bad.
So do you think it's helpful, for example, for our Master of Ministry classes? What do you mean bad?
So what I mean from my personal experience, you know, if I'm just talking like today, you know, but all of you are very hardworking students, you will listen. But my students will disappear. They won't even turn on their camera. They'll be screaming and say, "Can you please turn on the camera? Can you please turn on the camera?" You know, and so on. And then they will not. Then what I do is the only way is like you know, using the app is one way. I will use Google. I say, okay, you must add your comment, because they don't want to talk, they don't want to show the video, but at least they will type. So maybe sometimes they are, you know, they're in the, you know, they can be zooming from the canteen, from the food court. They're not even in the classroom. They're not even in a secluded place. They are actually in the library, so they cannot talk. So what I make them is that I'll have my, you know, my Google form, or my Google document, and I say, okay, now put in your comments. It's like Miro, you know, it's like Miro. You can put in your comments and so on. So you can have more activities. Then of course, breakout rooms is the best, because breakout room is small numbers you can control. Yeah, but definitely the attention span and the fatigue, we call it screen fatigue, it will set in. So nothing beats face to face. So it's quite a joke, because in education, right, we always worried that, you know, the teacher will be replaced by the computer. Remember, we used to have such talks, you know, that the teacher will be replaced by the computer. But this COVID do prove one thing, nothing beats face to face. Even wearing masks in class, you know, when my students come to class, they are all in masks. I cannot see their facial expression. I cannot see if they are happy or they are sad. So I tell them, if you're happy, please raise your eyebrow so that I know that you're a little bit excited when you're listening to me. You know, because it's very hard to read facial expression with a mask. Yeah, and worse on computer. And I cannot see more than, you know, 20 people, more than 30 people. So it can be very difficult.
Yes, follow-up question, Joanna. I hope you don't mind. Yeah, the focus mode, I think it's a new addition to the setting of the Zoom, whereby only the host and co-host can see the students, but the students cannot see all the other classmates.
Yes.
Yeah. So have you find it useful in your classroom setting?
No, I don't like it because I like to have interaction. So I don't like it. I don't like to turn it into a webinar.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't. That's why I don't use that function very much.
Okay, thanks,
So
Joanna.
you're talking about the focus mode. Huh? Oh, I heard wrongly. I thought you're talking about how focused are my students. Then I say, my students are never focused. But the focus mode, yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's fun. But my students are adult learners. I don't teach because I teach at NIE, so they are adult learners. We have to give them certain level of freedom, and responsibility. It's up to them to, if they want to listen, if they want to learn. Yeah. So it's good and it's quite fun, but okay lah. Yeah. You can go to the advanced feature and click on it.
Okay, thanks, Joanna.
All right, I think we are hitting our time. Thanks, Joanna, and thanks everyone for participating. Now, some of you may be a bit swimming in the deep blue sea because of technology, and especially if you're coming on MN3, the next batch, don't worry about it. We'll warm up slowly, and all you need to do is just follow the instructions we will give you, and slowly you get used to the features. So you won't need all this to be joining the January class. Joanna was trying to help you to use all the advanced features of Zoom, particularly if you want to use it in your church service, in your prayer meetings, etc., so that you can be more effective during the so-called quarantine time. So you don't lose your people during this time, so that you will be able to meet the needs of people who can't come to church, so that Zoom will become your tool to keep your people still connected, to keep them interested, and so on. So what Joanna's teaching basically is for you to use it to capture your attention of your church, your congregation. But if you're coming in January, don't worry about all these things. You won't need all this. We will teach you what to do, how to sign in, etc., etc. We do realize that for many of us, this is new. For me, I'm an old guy. This is new for me. Also, it's a huge struggle. I'm also swimming tonight, and so don't feel intimidated by all the terms. Joanna was teaching us to maximize Zoom. Okay, for some of us, we're not in the stage of maximizing, we're in the stage of just utilizing. So please don't be afraid of coming in. We will warm you up slowly. We have a team that will help you get used to Zoom. Okay, but those of you who want to use all these features, feel free to write to us, and we will forward your questions to Joanna. Joanna will be very happy to help you get a better church service, better church experience, if you need to continue preaching to your people who can't come to church. Now, the reality is it may last a bit longer. A lot of people still can't come to church, the new variants of the virus and so on. So don't see Zoom as some, how would I use the word, some cool thing that you don't need. It may be a tool that you may need, if the virus does go a bit worse and so on, you would need this. And it's a very useful tool for all of you. So we want to thank Joanna. Thanks for helping us, Joanna. We know that there's so many features in this. You'll never really, but learn the features that will help you meet the needs of your congregation. So thank you all for joining us tonight. I hope this has been useful. Slides will be sent to you. Okay, Joanna's slides are all, a lot of stuff she said, but the slides will be sent to each of you. You can keep the slides, and then every now and then you can use that as a reference point of what to do as you go down the slides. I think they're very, very useful stuff. So once again, Joanna, thanks so very much. That's all unite our hearts, and let's thank God for tonight and for the tools we have. Come, let's pray. Father, thank you so much for how you can connect us, Lord. We know that the best way is still face-to-face, but we know that's not the reality today. And furthermore, we all are far from one another, especially as we go to our admin class. We know that, Lord, we come from different places, and we thank you for these tools that we can continue to teach effectively. Lord, help each of us to know all the technology of the day, that we will be not irrelevant to our people, but we'll be very relevant, very connected to our congregation, to the people we want to reach. So God, thank you for tonight. We pray that each of us will be the best we can be in technology and in everything else, Lord. Thank you, God, for all that you've done tonight. So dismiss us with your blessings. We thank you for Johanna and her love to want to help us. In Jesus' name, amen. Good night. God bless everyone.
Amen. God bless.